Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going to be going over the top 10 rules for the opening. Alright, each one I'm going to break down real fast, but if you are interested, go ahead and take a look at our other video where I actually go into deep explanation over each one. This is a video to help you get over those basics and, well, help you out with your chess game. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. In this first one, we're going to be going over a very simple but very important rule: open with the center pawn. That being said, we typically like to start off with the e4 pawn. Well, with this e4 pawn, it lets out both your bishop and your queen. And, well, this is one of the best ways to play, in my opinion, especially for those beginners. d4, c4, there's lots of many other systems, but e4 is definitely a good beginner's opening for you. All the way up until master, I would say. And so, well, in this game, we're going to see black plays h6, understanding how important it is to control the center. So, what's better than one pawn in the center? That's two. Here we get to play pawn to d4. And already with two moves, we see that we control the full center by ourselves, and we're allowing the bishops to get out as soon as possible. Again, black's not paying attention. Play something like pawn a5. And now we're going to bring out our bishop and knight so that we can castle as soon as possible. Another rule I like to explain. Try to castle in 5 moves or less. Bishop d3, pawn to b6. Let's bring this knight out. Pawn to e6, and then we go ahead and castle, and white is already in a winning position as far as computer is concerned, giving us already a 1.5 advantage, meaning you're up almost 2 pawns here, or a pawn and a half. Alright, this is our first lesson. Control the center with the pawns, and try to castle in 5 moves or less. Let's go on to the next one. Develop with a threat. What does this mean? Well, when we're trying to bring out our pieces, we want to try and bring them out with a threat. And when I talk about pieces, I'm not talking about the pawns. I'm talking about the big ones. So here in this one, we're trying to figure out how to bring out our biggest pieces. What's the next piece in this position you'd want to move? Here I did skip to the middle game so we could really get to the idea. What's the next piece you want to move here? Simple chess. Try to bring your knights and bishops out first. So we want to try to bring out this bishop and this knight. With that being said, one of them actually comes with a check. So what do you play here? Bishop to g5 check, develop with a threat. We bring out a piece and make a threat. We can attack a pawn, we can attack a knight, anything that is going to disturb your opponent from doing what they want to do. Here black played bishop to f6, and again, well, we can play some good moves here, but we want to develop with a threat, and so we actually play knight to c3 here. How does this come with a threat? Well, here with the knight coming out, not only does it bring out a new piece, it opens up the rooks, and now the new threat is rook a to d1 to pin and win this queen. And, well, in the game, black went ahead and played bishop d7, and now a nice tactic got played. Rook takes on f6, and here Morphy was just in a winning position. By the way, all these rules are from Morphy game. And here after g takes f6, bishop takes f6. Oof, what a nice family fork here with the bishop, but you don't get to see too often. All right, let's go ahead and go to our next one. This one is not so good for the idea, but the idea is still very good. When you're playing your games, try to develop knights before bishops. So here we go. e4, e5, knight f3. So here we typically play knight f3 to attack the pawn, which is unprotected. Black played d6 in this one, which is known as the Philidor's defense. Simple chess. Here Morphy likes to play pawn to d4 and bishop g4. Here this is actually a little bit of a blunder, so we're going to go ahead and play pawn takes on e5, bishop takes on f3. Which way do we take back, with the pawn or the queen? Try not to give yourself any weaknesses. So this time we actually do take with the queen here. Because remember, queens can move backwards, double pawns cannot. Or just pawns in general cannot move backwards. So queen takes, pawn takes, and develop with the threat. Remember, although we want to develop knights before bishops, remember our previous rule, try to castle in 5 moves or less, and also develop with the threat. So here the move is not knight to c3, but here it is. Bishop c4, developing and threatening checkmate on f7. Remember, try to develop your knights before bishops, guys. All right, let's go on to the next one. Rule number 4, do not move the same piece twice if you can help it. Why if you can help it? Because sometimes they might attack your piece with a pawn or another way, right? Well, when that happens, this is the right time. Do not sacrifice a piece without good reason, which is going to be our rule number 10. All right, here we go. e4, e5. In this game, Morphy's playing with the black pieces. Knight f3, knight c6, pawn to d4. This is known as a Scotch opening. Pawn takes on d4 and bishop c4. Here, white decides to play what's called the Scotch Gambit. And this is actually a very good opening and not a bad way to play. Here, Morphy goes ahead and decides to hold on to the pawn, though. Bishop c5. And then here, white makes that mistake and plays knight to g5. Do not move the same piece twice in the opening. Here, there's many other good moves that you can play. Pawn c3, castles, maybe try to bring the knight out, anything else other than do not move the same piece twice. Here, Morphy is able to go ahead and take advantage of this mistake and plays, well, after every move, ask yourself, what's my opponent's threat? Here, the idea was to take on f7, so simple chess, we're just going to play knight to h6 here. And here already, black is going to have the advantage in this game. Not only does knight h6 get the last piece out, getting ready for them to castle, but also defends the f7 pawn. All right, let's go on to the next one. Here, I'll point out 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you already know that white is behind in tempos, or moves, as we say in chess. All right, on to the next one. Make as few pawn moves as possible. Each move should be trying to bring out the big pieces like the knights and the bishop. This time we see Morphy with the black pieces again get a very good advantage because white made too many pawn moves. Here we go, e4, e6, d4, d5. In this game, Morphy decides to play the French. Pawn to e5. This is actually a very good move because it's controlling a square on black's territory. Remember, from 5 and back, this is black's territory. From 4 and back, this is white's territory. So here you can see that white has invaded black's territory. Well, the plan of the French defense is to attack the c5, or to attack the d4 pawn. So that's exactly what black does. In this game, Morphy actually develops his queenside pieces first. And this is a specific idea in this opening, so we'll allow it. Pawn c5, attacking the center. And here white plays pawn c3, the wise move. Remember, do not take on c5 here, as black is already better after bishop takes. Why? Well, first off, black got a big piece out, which means white is already behind in development. Remember our rules, there's top 10 rules for the opening. We need to follow them, and they will always work well together. Bishop out. Now black has 2 pawns to the center, and white only has 1. Black already would hold an advantage. So white made the wise move and played pawn to c3. All right, knight c6 attacks the pawn. And then here we're just going to see white making too many pawn moves. Pawn f4. Although I do like this move, maybe bringing out the knight was going to be a little bit better. Queen b6, putting pressure on the d4 pawn. Here, white is forced to defend with the knight to f3. You can't bring your bishop out to defend because, well, b2 pawn falls. So only one way to defend this pawn, knight to f3. And here, well, we just keep developing our pieces. Bishop d7 got played. And here, white made too many pawn moves, a3. Let's keep developing our pieces. Knight to h6. Here, do not make too many pawn moves. Pawn to b4 got played. And here, Morphy follows a middle game rule, which I'll be doing in the next video, the top 10 middle game rules, which is when you're trying to attack your opponent, you need to open files and diagonals. So here, takes, and already this is a winning position here for black. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces ready to attack, while white only has 1. If you want to see the rest of this game, again, I recommend that you go on and click down below, and you'll see the full games for all these rules that we're giving to you today. All right, on to rule 6 here. Do not bring your queen out too early. Oof, we're going to see black play the ultimate price for this, and white's going to get a very good position. Here we go, e4, e5, knight f3, queen f6. Here we got a game with James McConnell, and he brings the queen out too early. Develop with the threat, develop knights before bishops. What do you play here? Hopefully you see it. It's knight to c3. How does this develop with the threat? Well, here with the knight going to c3, it threads knight d5 to attack the queen. Okay. Here black played c6, stopping this idea of knight to d5, but that's okay. Develop with a threat. Each move should have a threat here. Here white plays the beautiful pawn to d4. Here the threat is to take on e5. So, well, black went ahead and took. And here, pawn to e5. Keep harassing this queen. We're going to get so many free moves in with our little pieces just by attacking the queen. All right, queen g6, develop with a threat. Bishop d3. There's no time to take this knight as we're attacking the queen. The queen said, ooh, free money. Queen takes on g2, attacking the rook and the knight. But not really a threat against the knight as the queen's defending. So what do you play? Simple chess. Rook g1 attacking the queen again. Here the queen runs back to h3, and the game continues. But basically, look, 1, 2, 3, 4 free moves here for white. And, well, we're going to win this pawn back at our leisure. And look at black's army. Well, there's no army. They're all asleep over here. Here is just black's queen over here in the corner. Morphy wins in a beautiful checkmate in this game. All right, on to rule number 7. Castle as soon as possible, preferably on the king side. This rule, I like to say, is mostly about trying to castle in 5 moves or less. Don't get me wrong, we won't be able to do that every time, but it's definitely a rule that you should try to apply to your games. Here we go, e4, e5, knight f3 attacks the pawn, develop with the threat. Also develop knights before bishops. Knight f6, here we got the Petrov defense, or the Russian defense attacking the pawn back. And here, well, in this opening, best move is to take on e5, d6, knight back, knight takes on e4, pawn to d4. Very good move here. Here we would like to bring out our bishop, but bishop e2 is a little mute or not as good, and we like to play bishop d3. But if you do play the bishop to d3, you see the d pawn can't move out the way. If the d pawn can't move out, the bishop can't move out. If the bishop can't move out, the rook has hard times getting out. So here, Morphy plays the wise move of pawn to d4. Pawn d5. Morphy wastes no time at all. Bishop to d3. Bishop e7. Castles, and here black plays knight c6. Yes, developing the knight, but now, well, his king is going to be stuck in the center. Here, Morphy plays a beautiful game by keeping making harassing moves or keep making attacking moves that stops black from castling. And the longer the king was in the center, the more chances to attack. Another very beautiful attacking game by Morphy. All right, we're almost done. Here we're on rule number 8: play to control to get control of the center. Here, e4, e5, f4. The king's gambit. Pawn takes an f4, the king's gambit accepted. And here a move I like to play every once in a while, bishop c4. Wait a second. Typically we play knight f3 here to stop the queen h4 check. Well, check it out. Here we go. Bishop c4, queen h4 check. King f1 gets played. Black played bishop c5, and here you can take the center all by yourself. What do you play here as white? Simple chess. Pawn to d4 here, and here the bishop moves back. Knight comes to f3. Queen goes back, attacking the pawn on e4. Develop knights before bishops. Knight c3, knight f6, and here queen d3. I think it's very simple to see in this game. Well, who controls the center here? White does. White has so many pieces here in the center, it's just going to be perfect. I mean, even here after something like c6, bishop takes f4, I don't think you can have a better control of the center here. The rooks might be sliding over here very soon. All right, on to the next game. Play to maintain at least one pawn in the center. Here, it's a very good idea to control the center with your pawns, but always try to maintain a good presence in there. It'll help you for attacking the queen side or to attack the king side. In this game, Morphy plays with the black pieces. e4, e5, knight f3, d6, Philidor's defense. d4, f5, pawn takes on e5, pawn takes on e4, attacking the knight. Knight g5, and pawn to d5 here. Here, Morphy has beautiful control over the center, and he keeps maintaining it for the rest of the game. Remember, try to maintain at least one pawn, but hey, you know what? 2 pawns is even better. All right, now we're on to our last one. For the opening, do not sacrifice without a good reason. Here you can see that Morphy got into a beautiful position in this opening. Both rooks are looking good. The knight's out, the bishop, the queen. Look at this. Morphy's all his pieces are working out. Black, on the other hand, well, you got some sleeping pieces here on the queen side and a few king side defenders here. Here, feel free if you want to, take a second, push pause. What do you think the move is here for white? Remember, don't sacrifice without a good reason. All right, this is more of a middle game rule. Remember, whenever you're trying to attack your opponent, like we are right now, because we have more attackers than defenders, we need to open up files and diagonals. So hopefully you found the move here, which was pawn to e5, believe it or not. And in the game, black plays f5. Wait a second, can't they take the bishop? Yes, you can, and if you do, you're probably going to get checkmated. Check it out. Feel free to take a look at this with the computer. If the pawn does take on g5, or the knight takes on g5, the only thing you did here is open up a file so that you can be attacked. And now with all these pieces in the game, there's really nothing good to do here. If you go ahead and trade, I don't know, rook takes now even less defenders for the king. Knight f7 check is coming, and well, this already gives an advantage of plus 12 here for white. All right, guys, hope you found this video very entertaining, but also very informative. Please like, subscribe, please share this, and please let me know if you have any comments or questions on this opening, on these opening rules, or maybe I missed one. Maybe I can add another video to this. All right, guys, you have a nice day. Bye.